Hello and welcome back to New You Wow, Going Places, where we are helping you achieve epic breakthroughs while celebrating connections in our community and within the family. Today, we are so honored to be joined by Ramona Rogers out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, a highly successful entrepreneur and mother of two college students. How are you today?
I am absolutely wonderful and so happy to be here.
Wonderful and wonderful. And, we understand that you are a motivational speaker, a personal development coach, and an author inspiring and empowering women around the world to believe in themselves. That is beautiful. How long have you been doing that?
Been doing it about 6 years now, going on 6.5, 7 years.
Fantastic. Well, we cannot wait to dive into your insights and all of the light that you can shine. We always start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So, to get us going, can you tell us something about yourself that many people do not know? A little precious hidden gem.
Precious hidden gem. Something that no one would know, maybe a few people in my early adulthood years. I do balloon twisting. I twist
Yeah.
balloons.
What's your favorite figure and shape to make?
Oh, a tree, a palm tree.
Wow, that is great. How'd you pick that up?
Well, I've always been the type of person that if I see something like, I want to learn how to do that.
Nice.
And so my entrepreneurial mind, people were all everywhere I went. Younger years, I see people twisting balloons, but I wanted to learn how to do it. But a few people found that I knew how to do it. I just did it really for my own self benefit. But I did a few carnivals at church or stuff like that, but not big scale. I just wanted to know how to do it. I thought it was
Wow.
fascinating.
And that's how best way to live life. Just grab it by the horns. So, okay. Now, I understand that you have come from years of feeling invisible, helpless, imprisoned because of negative words and actions from those around you. Can you tell us a little bit more about your process of finding the courage and the strength to fight for your existence and change those limiting beliefs about yourself?
It was one of those things where for so many years you feel so boggled down in when I say being invisible in plain sight, uh, that was just my way of life, and it never felt comfortable. It never
Hmm.
felt good. And it wasn't until after I had my own kids, my own daughters, that it was like I went through postpartum depression with my second daughter. And after I dealt with that for about 6 or 7 months, that was like so debilitating that you can't function. And if you've ever been through that depressive state, you can't do anything, even if you want to, you can't do it. And that's what I felt like. And when I finally got better, and I just looked at my daughters, and thought about me as the life I had lived so far was limiting. I hadn't went after things, and I didn't feel real good about who I was. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to allow them to live that life. That's not the life I want for them. And so that was the biggest turnaround in my life at that point. Also, just for me discovering me, I can't be a model, a role model for them if I'm not there. And so it was
Wonderful.
ended up being a journey of discovery about who I was, I guess my talents and the things that I wanted to do to become who I was born to be. And not only that, to make sure that I put them in environments and in situations that would let them know that they are loved, they are creative, they are great, they are capable of doing whatever it is they want to do. And so their process was me learning and implementing it on them, as I was learning that. And uh, I'm just glad I went that route with them because I'm so proud of my daughters right now. They
Oh,
are.
wonderful. Look at that, a mother's love. And, you are so to be commended for not only having the dream, but putting it into action. They served as your motivation. You stepped up to the plate, and now look at where they are. That is phenomenal. You said one's a freshman and one's a junior, right?
One's a freshman, one's a junior in college. Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So, given that you are so passionate about empowering others to do the same that you have, so they too can live the way they want, reach their potential of greatness, why don't we take it back to the beginning? When were you first bitten by that entrepreneurial bug? And what led to your decision to follow through?
Ironically, my ancestors, my grandmother, my father, We were inundating with entrepreneur when I was growing up. My grandmother had a restaurant on one side. My grandmother on the other side had a salon, beauty salon. But that was
Nice.
just a way of life for them. That wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, you're going to be an entrepreneur. Here's what you do. Here's how you do it. It was just a way of life for them. It wasn't a big entrepreneur type of pass the legacy down. It wasn't even that. My dad, however, he was always, I can name the businesses that he had. He was always working while he was working while he was working to take care of the family, but he was always exploring his entrepreneur side. And
Okay.
again, it wasn't passed down that way. He would give us information here and there, but it wasn't in a way that I could understand it as a child at that time. And it wasn't until my mom had a home daycare, again, an entrepreneur thing,
Yep.
and needed assistance. And she, called upon me, and that wasn't what I really saw in myself or what I wanted to do is really nurture children at the time. I had just had my oldest daughter, and she's like 6 months, and so I finally stepped in and then to assist her and ran her facility, and that's where I started it. And then I also was a cosmetologist. I was a cosmetologist for 16 years that I did hair as well.
Wow.
Because I was interested at that time, and that's what I went and did. That was just some stuff that I did that I did. But those were the first two endeavors as far as being an entrepreneur, as being a hairstylist, as well as running my mom's uh, childcare center. Those were the
Wow.
first two.
So that's a lot of experience under the belt. And, it's kind of like the river where it meanders left and right. You never quite know what life's going to throw at you, but the
Not at
key
all.
is to keep moving. That is phenomenal. Now, while you were going through this journey and this growth, can you tell us about some of the roadblocks or the speed bumps that you encountered?
Oh wow, which one? There were so many. The biggest one is really self doubt. The
Yeah.
one that I encounter the most, and it's like you see something, you think it's there, you know it's there, you know you're capable, but when uh, you then think about I'm not supposed to be that person, going back and forth with that, or not having resources to call upon to help you get to that next level, or to help you get to that next spot, not knowing where it is you're trying to go. There's no blueprint for that.
Hmm.
There's unless you know somebody to really mentor you and help you along the way to kind of steer you in the right direction, it's really difficult to plot your own course, so to speak,
Hmm.
when you don't know what you're doing, when you're trying to run a business, when you have children, you're trying to better yourself, you have all these things going on, all these aspects of life that you're trying to make sure it stays in place and are elevated. And you're only human, you can only do so much. And sometimes
Yes.
I know people would say to me, do you ever sleep? Because sometimes I guess you make it look easy when that becomes your norm, is that you're making sure everything is getting taken care of because that's what you have on your plate. Ironically, it makes you elevate to another level when you do wear as many hats as you do when you're being an entrepreneur, or when you're being a person that's trying to better yourself and go forward and become the best possible version of yourself.
Amen. Very true. Very true. And that being said, it's clear that the pandemic has actually heightened our levels of fear and anxiety. And what have you found to be effective ways of coping when those emotions try to pull you down?
For the most part, I have been revamping and reliving my information. I remember probably at the beginning of this month when some situations that happened to me, I ended up going through doing an audio book from my book. That was the medicine that I needed to
Mm,
keep forward, and it made me understand and realize my first book. I wrote this book for this very purpose. When people are in this situation,
hmm.
so my book became my medicine to constantly keep moving forward, even when life deals you a hand that you didn't know you were going to survive. And so that surviving mechanism, to know and to have some information and resource to pull from, is basically my way of looking at life and looking at ways how I can help other people. And here's this information here, let this help you as well.
Beautiful. And I think too that's amazing that you didn't feel the need to reinvent the wheel. You were able to look back at other accomplishments, things that you've done, and by revisiting that, take it to a whole new level. That is fantastic. Now, what would you say, or who are your top three sources of inspiration and why?
let's see. I'm absolutely love Damien John. He's an entrepreneur, and all the information that he has out there and available, he definitely is trying to input, impact, help you up level your own life. And so I
Nice.
really, really love his the book that I recently read of his was Rise and Grind, and just to give you that understanding of where he comes from and how he's doing what he's doing and why, and what are some elements that you have to embody in order to get there. He laid that foundational stuff, and I could see, and it resonated with me on who I am, and some things that I've done about uh, getting up, rising and grinding on a day-to-day basis. So that's my
Okay.
uh I always say Jim Rome is my one of my mentors. I listen to his stuff all the time, and just the profound information that I get from him, I feel like I've been his uh, he's been my teachers for many years now. But just the information right now to me is relevant for so many things that are going on right now. I don't even know how long he's been gone from this earth. However, he has left such uh, a stay with his information to help people get from point A to point B. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur for that. He's just talking about moving and getting where you can function at a higher level in life, just period. And so, who else do I like? I like Lisa Jones. Not Lisa.
Okay.
Lisa, yeah.
Lisa
Lisa
Nichols?
Nichols. Sorry,
Yeah, you
Lisa
mentioned her
Nichols.
to me.
Lisa Nichols is another person that I love her story. I probably can regurgitate it about as good as she can. I love her story, and she's a resemblance of me,
Hmm.
and what I strive to be, and what I can be, and what is possible for me, and just her story, and knowing how she's done what she's done, and how she's impacting so many people. That's what I want to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's interesting when I ask that question, many people struggle to keep it at just three because we are a reflection of the company that we keep. So when you're choosing these strong trailblazers that inspire you, motivate you, and as you said, you can see yourself in them, then you're in a position to do great things yourself. So nice choices, very nice. Now, we are also curious, which accomplishment to date are you most proud of? Which one brings you the most joy?
My daughters,
Nice.
they are my life's best work. They are my life's work and best work. And close second is the information and books I was able to pull together to be able to impact other people. Watching them, watching something that you have birthed and over the years, watch them grow and maneuver, and how you're planning their life for them, so to speak, but you're guiding them to do things, and they're gonna make it their own. However, some influence that I have, some positive influence, and right now I'm a happy mom.
Oh, wonderful. And we're wishing you many, many more years of happiness and joy and pride as you see their accomplishments too.
Yeah.
So, I know we spoke a little bit about how this pandemic can take its toll, but curious specifically when you feel like you're running on empty, what do you do specifically to reset?
Number one is pray about what needs to be done and the guidance that needs to be in place before I move. It's hard sometimes being patient with maneuvering. Uh, I've learned to my theme right now is to get out of my own way. I've been in my way for so long, so that's my thing. So when they say be still,
Mm,
I've practiced being still. This year, I've practiced being still, and things have been coming to me. My prayers that provide the provision for the vision, and it just things have been working out, not to my own, not because of me, not
mhm.
because of me. Definitely not because of me, but being still and waiting to see what's next and what I'm supposed to do, and positioning myself to be ready for that next thing. And that means constantly reading, constantly studying and learning and networking, and getting in different circles of people to help me become who I'm supposed to be and impact who I'm supposed to impact. Just sitting in the house is just not going to do it. I got this internet. I got ways to communicate with the outside world. And that's what I've been doing. And just it's been a remarkable year so far, definitely.
And I can definitely testify to Ramona's living up to those words. It's just been a few days since we met. We had the opportunity to be in a training together virtually, Ping Jun Implementation Week. And I look over and see a reach out, a chat direct to me. And you made this possible. That element of raising your hand, reaching out, connecting, it is so essential and just such a beautiful, remarkable quality that's going to take you far because, yeah, we could do it on our own, but we can get there a heck of a lot faster together. So keep that up.
Oh,
Um, Very curious too. What's your opinion? Do you choose your calling or does your calling choose you?
I think your calling chooses you, and you have to accept it and step up to the plate to make it come, be manifested on whatever level it needs to be. You can be called, but if you don't do anything to move towards it, then it's just a calling. That's my
That's deep. That's so deep. And you have to question how many lives go unlived. In other words, who is not reaching their full potential because they hear the call, but they don't respond. And, I know that we'd had a separate conversation and spoke to a lot of the qualities that can creep in. So the fear, the doubt, the disappointment, you described the self limiting beliefs. Can you tell us a little bit about experiences that you had growing up essentially that put you in a position to fight to help yourself and other women feel empowered?
definitely. Growing up, I don't know if I said it before. What I was told when I was growing up, from the ages of 4 to 8, is that I was dumb. I
Mm,
heard that repeatedly over and over again. And so, if you know anything about child development, those years are the years that they're trying to identify themselves.
for
And so,
sure.
my identity came at me thinking, "Oh, I'm dumb. Oh, I can't learn." And so when the invisible part came in, I was always being invisible because I didn't want anybody to keep telling me that I was dumb. Who wants to hear that? So as a child, again, being hidden in plain sight, so to speak, is what I did. And so that carried with me all those years, the years of just going through this, that, and the other. Just I went to high school, out of the best high school in town. I went to college. Still having that stigma on me,
Mm,
and that was my self-limiting belief, but I didn't know anything different.
hmm.
I believed what they told me when I was between the ages of 4 and 8, and so it stuck with me. And so fighting that fight, the fight came when again my daughters were my big reason. It's like I wanted to come out of it, and I did little things to come out of it, but it was nothing like self-preservation. It's like when I came out of that depressed, that postpartum depression, it was a fight.
Mm,
I was gonna win. I was gonna win, if not for myself, but for them. And that was my fight to live and fight to exist. And over the years, after I was fighting for them, the fight thing, it became more about kids that I was impacting, people that was in my circle that I was influencing, my staff. It became about other people, raising them up, because I could see that they have possibly have felt the same way as I did for many years. And so it became about other people and not just me and not just my daughters. And so it ended up me fighting for a lot of people because of the things that they had been told and the things that they hadn't been exposed to or educated about, so forth and so on, and so much that I'm like, okay, I got to do something to help change the trajectory of people's lives and change the outlook. And my thing I normally tell people is, you are better than what somebody has ever told you you are. And so that's something I've always said, because a lot of people have never heard it said to them, and they just think they are what people have told them, and it's mediocrity at its best, or just a low level of living and self-esteem that has been embedded into their psyche, into the way that they operate and move and function. And I always try to look for the better part of them and capitalize off of that, and build them up that way.
that's phenomenal, you know. And it sounds like you're describing that whole self fulfilling prophecy. If that's what you're told, that's what you embrace. And it's interesting you say it wasn't until the birth of your daughters that you lifted above that. And not overnight, that it took time and it was a fight. But I'm sure that fight was oh so worth it. Can you describe that feeling when you started stepping out of that identity and realizing that you were amazing?
Oh yeah, that well, when people start looking to me and looking for me for advice and looking for me to fix the problem and looking for me to do, that was a new norm for me, and
Good.
so that gave me confidence. So it gave me confidence to go want to go learn more about what it is I need to do. How can I be more effective? How can I become better? Uh, I have so many certifications and degrees that it's not even funny because I was all about learning and educating myself. I felt like I was behind the eight ball, so to speak, for so many
Mhm.
years. And
Mhm.
so, me learning that educational tool or that certification to help me do X, Y, Z to just better myself and better my knowledge base about a lot of stuff that I just didn't know.
Nice. Nice. And I'm going to encourage you to keep that momentum because you have so many huge things on the horizon coming your way. And I like how you described earlier, it's about being ready. You have to put yourself in that state of readiness because when opportunity knocks, if you don't open the door, it's going to keep on moving. So, the way that you've grown, you've stretched outside the comfort zone and you broke down barriers, not just for you, but for your family, for friends, for others you've connected with and crossed paths with. And doing that makes you more powerful every day. So, definitely continue with that.
Uh,
Now, what about this? What are you working on? What new projects of yours should we be on the lookout for?
what I'm working on right now, I have a book release. My third book is coming out, really being released on September 24th. That's about in 2.5 weeks. So I'm excited about that. Actually, that's
There it is, Blueprint
that's
for
this is
Success.
the first copy of it that I got the other day, so I'm so excited about that. So the first copy of that came out from the books I've written in my materials. I am launching finally launching the actual Ramona Rogers enterprise business. So it's been kind of just done half-heartedly, but this is my business. This is my personal development coaching and speaking business that I'm launching, and that's going to be launched on that same day as well. So I have coaching coaching courses, online courses, group coaching, and so all that stuff can be is going to be launched on September 24th. So those are the things I'm working on right now. Looking to go into the school systems to also make sure our students know this information early
Yes.
on, as opposed to later on in life, that they can make better decisions about how they're maneuvering, how they're functioning their way and building their life the way that they want to, with the information and the education to give them the proper decision making tools that they need. So those are the things I'm working on, is getting into the school systems and launching the business tools that I put in place. That's what I have on my plate right now.
Beautiful. That's a large plate, but sounds delicious indeed. Can you tell us a little bit more? Because the date that you selected, the significance of that date, so we get more insight into your inspiration.
Most definitely. So September 24th is my dad's birthday.
Mm.
He has been gone from this earth 20, almost 21 years now. However, he was my coach when I was growing up. I was an athlete, basketball player. He really wished I was a boy, but I did have two brothers, and we were the athletes in the family. And he was my soccer coach, my basketball coach, and when I was going into college, he wanted me to go into education and so I could coach. That was what he wanted from me. So that's kind of how he felt like he needed to steer me. That wasn't on my agenda. And
Mm.
then he encouraged me to also go into broadcast journalism because he said, "Oh, you're pretty. You can be in front of the camera." That was his philosophy for me. And I did. Broadcast journalism was my major, a production major in college. But I didn't use those skills coming out of college. I dabbled and dabbled here and there with those skills over the years. But as of a few months ago, I had a brother call and say, "Hey, you're right where you're supposed to be. Dad had a vision for you that you didn't know back then. Uh, you are coaching people in their lives and you are broadcasting it out in your information that you put out. And so ultimately, Dad was onto something way back then. And so I felt it nothing but significant enough to launch all my business and my book on his birthday, which is September.
Wow. And it's just fantastic that you're able to, again, look back and reflect on the gifts that he was giving you. And sometimes they don't manifest until later, but it's a key of, are we ready? So that is wonderful. My dad, long gone as well, but don't, it's so interesting that parents have a way of planting these seeds because they see it in you. And you've mentioned how you're paying that forward with your daughters. And you know that the day comes when the light goes off and they get it. They
Yeah.
embrace it, appreciate it, and your legacy lives on because of what your father and others before him were able to do. So that's just great. Just great. Now, this last question is more hypothetical.
Okay.
If you could go back in time and you had just 2 minutes to confront yourself 20 years ago, what would you say?
20 years ago. That'll be before children. Let's see.
Mm,
I mean, I look as old as I am, but I am before children. Uh, I would definitely encourage myself to don't be afraid and to face my fears regardless of what they are.
mm,
If you never face those fears, you'll never do anything. Because fear has a way of being a crippling mechanism that will just stop you, make you retreat, make you just do nothing that you really desire to do, but because you're afraid to actually try or attempt, then that fear factor is really huge for me. Uh, get around people that can assist me into become who I'm supposed to be. That thing about you, the some other five people you hang around is definitely true. So get around people that can make me better, that I can aspire to lift me up and to get me where I want to be, or even introduce me to something else that I didn't know was even out there available. So moving around, not being afraid to move around and get out of my comfort zone, to just explore, be willing to explore and not stay stuck in just your familiar surroundings. So yeah, those were
love
the
it.
things that I would definitely tell my 20-year ago self before kids, because I can move around definitely then.
Okay. Now, love it. Love it. And, the thing is, we go through different iterations in life. We're not the same today as we were 20 years ago. But the real intent of that question is to have a takeaway for yourself for the next 20 years. Everything that you would have said back then holds just as true now. Get outside that fear, get around the people that are going to help you and that you're going to help. Because you're right, birds of a feather, that community element can be so, so strong when you feel the fear creeping in. And I know that's another conversation we had that as entrepreneurs, it's very easy to think, she's got it all together. She doesn't go through this, but we all are in that fight. And the key is to stay in the ring until that bell rings. So happy for you and everything that you've got going on. If we have listeners that want to get in touch with you, how is the best way for them to connect?
The best way, if you want to just look at my information, is RamonaRogers.com. You can connect with me via email, Ramona@RamonaRogers.com. I'm on Facebook at Ramona Rogers. I'm on LinkedIn under Ramona Rogers, and as well as Instagram, Ramona Rogers. So Ramona underscore Ramona underscore Ramona underscore Rogers underscore. Yeah. Instagram, it's kind of crazy.
It can be, but that's okay. I'm going to put it all in the description. So for anyone who's listening that wants to just click and connect, please do. We're sure we're going to hear a lot more amazing things coming from Miss Ramona Rogers, but we are so happy that you could join us here today. And in closing, we're just going to remind all of you to look at yourself, look deep within, figure out what adjustments do you need to make? How do you need to turn the dials to turn them up? Live your best life now And if you want to see that coming, you have to start today. Those that are in your circle that you love, pull them close, let them know how you feel. And we can't wait to see you. Till next time, Ramona, wishing you nothing but the best. And thank you so much again for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Just let me know when I need to come back.
We'll be having you back. We got to do a check in and see what amazing things you checked off your list and what you came up with next, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks again. And to all our listeners, stay safe, stay amazing. See you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at NewUL. Until next time, stand tall in your power and remember, your belief in yourself is your superpower.